So, and that's digestion. So nutrition involves the intake of nutrients. So, and the process started from digestion, absorption, transport, assimilation, and excretion of waste products. So what is the importance of this nutrition? As one of the characteristics of living organisms, both plant and animal, so need nutrients. We need food for us to what? For us to grow, and we need food for energy to repair worn out tissue in our body and to maintain the life processes. So nutrition provide energy for metabolic activities. That's all the activities that go around the body. Supplying raw material for growth and repair of tissue. Maintains body function like enzyme activity, nerve transmission. Helps in defense against disease by supporting the immune system. And maintain homeostasis and overall health. Homeostasis is the internal maintenance of internal environment. So ability of organism to maintain constant internal environment. So it's homeostasis. So we'll be going to the types of nutrition we have. So nutrition can be divided into two broad. So it can be divided into two broad divisions. The first one is autotrophic nutrition, and the second one is heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition means a self-made food. So ability of an organism to manufacture the food on its own without depending on anything. So organisms manufacture their own food from simple substances. So we have two types of autotrophic nutrition, and they are holophytic. They are holophytic and what? And chemosynthetic. So holophytic is the same thing as what? Photosynthesis. So we have photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. Photosynthesis and chemosynthesis are under autotrophic nutrition. These are self-made food, like the situation whereby like organism will make the food themselves. Now, plants, algae, and some bacteria use sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to make glucose and release oxygen as the byproduct. And therefore, the equation for photosynthesis will now give us getting CO2 from human being, because human being breathe out CO2 through our lung. That's one of the excretory products. So CO2, carbon dioxide, comes out from the lung. Then plants absorb water from the by the aid of the roots from the soil. So the two comes together and produce C6H12O6. That's the formula for glucose. That's chemical formula for glucose. And oxygen is being given off in this process. And this is the oxygen that human being breathe in, form of like respiration process. So now in the presence of this will not happen in the presence of two things. Photosynthesis will not happen except in the presence of two things. So majorly in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. And this CO2 and water, they are the reactants. Then if you don't see the reactant, how do you want to see the product? Therefore, if you are being asked for the condition that factors that affect photosynthesis, you'll be talking about carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll, and and sunlight. So that's that, and it's also referred to as what? Holophytic nutrition. So chemosynthetic nutrition. So some certain bacteria synthesize food using energy derived from chemical reactions, like nitrifying bacteria. So they use what? They synthesize food from that chemical reaction. So these are the two types of autotrophic nutrition we have. I hope you are following me. So look at the balance equation for photosynthesis very well, because you can be given option and the equation will not be balanced, or it will be balanced wrongly and you'll be asked to choose the correct one. So we have 6 CO2 here, we have 6 H2O here, so we have 6 O2. So just you are finding TD6 at the front. So from here here, and what, and here. So even if you don't want to rack your brain, just use your eye to pin it like that. So you've learned balancing of equation in your chemistry. Now let's come to heterotrophic nutrition. So from the word auto, so you know that is automatic. So heterotrophic nutrition, organism depend on other organism like plant and animal for food. Like is either like we are depending on plants, that's herbivore, or animal, like that's carnivore. Like a lion will kill other organism as prey, like rat, like deer. So lion, they are carnivore, that they will feed on other animals. Like human being now, we are omnivore. We can feed on both plants and animal. Like you can eat vegetable and you can also take in meat. So like we are depending on other organism for what? For food. So we can manufacture it ourselves. So that's heterotrophic nutrition. So and the first type of heterotrophic nutrition is called holozoic nutrition. This involves ingestion, like that is taking in food through your mouth, and it will pass through your esophagus to your stomach, and all other chemical digestion will occur. So before the food will now what will be absorbed by the wall of the small intestine and being passed into the blood will circulate the nutrients in the body. So and whatever comes out from undigested food, so they will be passed out as feces from the body. So now holozoic nutrition, so we have organisms that undergo holozoic nutrition like humans, like animals. Even amoeba undergo holozoic nutrition. So you can have herbivores, they eat only plants. Carnivores eat other animals, that's flesh. Omnivores eat both plant and animal. So example is human being. Example of this carnivore are like tiger, lion, those carnivorous animal. Example of herbivores, cattle, sheep, goats. So then saprophytic nutrition. So organisms tend to feed on dead decaying organic matter. Like the major two major saprophytes we have, fungi and what? And bacteria. So and you know example of fungi like Rhizopus stolonifer, we have penicillium, we have mushroom, we have molds. So like that, we have aspergillus, like that. So example of bacteria we have, you know them. So we have streptococcus aureus, we have staphylococcus, we have uh spirio vibrio, so like that. Then come to parasitic nutrition. You know the meaning of parasite. I've told you, like a parasite is an organism that live in or out of what? Of another organism, which is called the host. So majorly most times parasites will be smaller than their host. Like the round drum you have in our stomach, we are bigger than the round drum. So but the round drum is what? Is feeding on the digested food in our small intestine. So thereby causing harm to us, because someone that just eats, so like a a plate of food now, like having numerous round drum in his stomach or our stomach. So the round drum will feed on it, and in not long time, not very long time, so the person will be feeling hungry again. So that's the infestation of round drum. So that person needs deworm. So if you are eating and you think that like is like you are not taking any food, so you have to deworm yourself from these worms. So it's not only roundworm, you have tapeworm, which belongs to Platemitis, and we have Plasmodium. So they are all parasites. So parasite and those, we have two type of parasites, the ectoparasite and endoparasite. The ectoparasite live on the host, like outside the body of the host. We have tick, we have mite, we have lice, we have flea. So note them. We have tick, we have mite, we have lice, we have flea. So those are the what? Ectoparasites that live on the body of what? Organism. They will hide under what? Under the ear that is covering the body of organism. Then we have the endoparasite, those ones that live inside, like tapeworm, like plasmodium, like roundworm, fasciole particle liver fluke, trypanosome, all those roundworm. So we have symbiotic nutrition, can also be referred to as mutualistic nutrition. Mutualistic. So you know the meaning of mutual, like we are benefiting from each other. So symbiosis and mutualism, so they are mostly the same things. Like situation whereby two organisms live together and benefit mutually. For example, now lichens, which consists of what? The combination of relationship between algae and fungi. So algae photosynthesize, thereby producing food, because there will be glucose and there will be oxygen. So fungi need the food and the oxygen. So now the fungi now provide habitat for the algae to stay. So fungi is giving algae habitat. Algae is giving. If you can't see if you can't see my screen, that shows that it's from your side. It might be your network. So algae provide food and oxygen for the fungi, while fungi provide habitat, shelter for the algae. So you can see that they are what? They are benefiting one another. Okay, round drum in your stomach, what benefit is it doing for you? So other than harm. So random is not benefiting you in any way. It's just feeding on your digested food. So that's what? That's a parasitic nutrition. The tick that is feeding on the blood of cattle is not benefiting cattle in any way, rather harming the cattle. So that's parasitic nutrition. So we are still going to learn this one in what? Interaction between organisms. That's when we are talking about parasitism, commensalism, amensalism, like that. Can you now see my screen? Who else is not seeing my screen? If you cannot see my screen, thumb up. If you cannot see my screen. Okay, if you are seeing my screen, kindly thumb up. If you can see my screen. Okay, I think the numerous number of people are seeing my screen. Maybe you should just leave and rejoin. Leave and rejoin. So let's go to nutrients and their functions. Nutrients are chemical substances in food required by organism. For example, now, if you take in yam, if you ingest yam, eh, you want to derive a nutrient from that yam, and that yam must be broken down in your what? In your stomach, so that the nutrient can be derived from what? By the villi which line the epithelium of the small intestine, before what? The nutrients can be passed through the body to where they are needed by the blood. So any food you take in, even if it is proteinous food, so you want to derive what? Nutrients from it. So like carbohydrates now, the end product of carbohydrate is what? Glucose. So you want to derive glucose from that carbohydrate, and glucose is monosaccharide. You want to derive starch from the carbohydrate, starch is polysaccharide. So you have to derive like maltose, so that's disaccharide. So carbohydrates are the foods that provide energy for the body. So in your basic science, they will say energy giving food. So the second one is protein. So body building food. So it is responsible for what? For growth of the body. It is responsible for repairing worn out tissue. If you add a wound now, so if you have a wound, you have a cut, so you want it to what? To heal quickly. So that tissue that is worn out, you want it to be repaired. Just taking proteinous food like milk, meat, egg, so like that. So it also functions as what? There's one ruling in in biology that all all enzymes are proteins, but not all proteins are enzymes. All enzymes, they are proteins, but not all proteins are enzymes. So, and what? And hormones. This is the function. So, they manufacture enzymes and hormones. Then we have fat and lipids. Then I said the end product of carbohydrate, that is, if carbohydrate is being broken down in our stomach, we have what? We have glucose. What of if we take in proteinous food like beans, like meat, like egg, like milk, and they are digested in our stomach, what are they going to break down into? because this protein is a large molecule, is a polymer, so it should be broken down into what? Into a monomer. That's a small molecule. So who can tell me the end product of protein?
Amino acid.
Amino
Amino
acid.
Amino
acid.
acid.
Amino acid. That's very good. So, and do you know that this amino acid, they can come together also to make, to what? To make protein again. Do you know? So they can come together what? To make protein. And glucose, two or more glucose can come together again to form what? Polysaccharide. So it can break down and they can come together to form the large molecule also. So like fat and lipids now, fat and oil or lipids, they are the same thing. Fat and oil, so either you say fat and oil or you say lipids. So they store their energy storage, function as insulation, cell membrane formation, because the cell membrane of an organism is made up of phospholipid. It's made up of phospholipid bilayer. So that's the work of lipid. Okay, so if you have lipids that break down, they'll break down into what? What's the end product of fat and oil or lipids?
Glycerol or fatty acid.
Glycerol.
Fatty
Fatty
acid and
acid.
glycerol.
Fatty acid.
Fatty acid and glycerol. So that's the basic unit. Fatty acid and glycerol, they are the basic unit of what? Of uh fat and oil and lipids. So we also have vitamins. We have vitamin. They are organic compound required in small amounts for power functioning. E.g., vitamin A is for vision and vitamin D is for what? Bone formation. Yeah. So we can see vitamin D, source of vitamin D, we can see like uh we have milk, we have meat, we have bone meal, like that. And the deficiency of vitamin D is what? Is ricket or soft bone. So vitamin A, so deficiency will be poor vision. So we'll learn about those vitamin and their what and their deficiencies also. Because we have two type of vitamin, we have insoluble, and we have fat soluble, and we have insoluble. So minerals, inorganic elements like calcium for bone, iron for hemoglobin. So water, medium for reactions. So it's water that what help to water aids digestion. It will help those food taken in to digest properly, and it will help to transport them from one region to another in the digestive tract, the alimentary canal. So water also perform the function of temperature regulation. So our water is the only nutrient that the body do not need to absorb by digestion. It does not need to be digested before the body absorb it. That's water. But all other nutrients, the body will what? Digest it before it is being absorbed. Then we have fiber or autophagy. So it's aid digestion and prevent constipation. So I've told you this before. So three organisms that have cell wall: plant, fungi, and bacteria. You remember? So and the cell wall is made up of what? This. So let's come to nutrition in plants. Plants are autotrophs, that is, they make food through what? Photosynthesis. What's the other type of autotrophic nutrition we have apart from photosynthesis? Who can remind me again?
Chemosynthesis.
Chemosynthesis.
Chemosynthesis. And it is being carried out by what? By what organism? Bacteria,
Bacteria.
Bacteria,
nitrifying
yes,
bacteria.
bacteria. Referring bacteria. Yes.
So nutrient requirements for plants, we have carbon. Plants require carbon. That's just micronutrients. We have micronutrients and macronutrients. They can be called minor nutrient or major nutrient. So macronutrients are the nutrients that are required by organism in large quantity, while micronutrients are the nutrients that are required by organism in small quantity. Example of micronutrients is carbon. So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. But and this one. So carbon is gotten from what? CO2. Hydrogen and oxygen is gotten from what? Water, H2O. And what? Mineral salts from the soil. Why the what? Why the macronutrients that are required by organism in large quantity? They are the essential mineral, like nitrogen. The function of nitrogen is what? Is for what? Amino acid and protein. So its function what? It is rich in amino acid and protein. So whenever a plant is deficient in what? In nitrogen, we say that what is lacking protein. So phosphorus is for nucleic acid and ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's where energy is stored as ATP, an organism as ATP. Potassium is what? Enzyme activation. While magnesium is for chlorophyll formation. That shows that if an organism is lacking magnesium, like a plant is not lacking magnesium, so the plant will have chlorosis, yellowing of leaves. So they can just in your just leave these nutrients. And which one can cause chlorosis? Which deficiency, which nutrient deficiency can cause chlorosis or yellowing of leaves in plants? So and they list nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium. So you know that what is magnesium, because chlorophyll helps what? Helps the plant to be green. So it's the green pigment in the chloroplast. And chloroplast is found in what? In the guard cell of the stomata, present in the leaf. And stomata is the site for gas exchange in the leaf. Are you following me? Are you following it? Are you getting it? Okay. Are you jotting anything down? Okay. You might not write everything, but jot down, jot down. Uh-huh. So it's very, very important. Now let's come to nutrition in animals and humans. So human use holozoic mode of nutrition and the human digestive system. Now, so you know holozoic nutrition means what? Ingesting food, taking in food through your mouth. So and we now have digestion processes. Let me write it. Process, or don't let me write. Let me write process. We have 5 processes in what? In digestion. The first one is ingestion. That is take food intake through the mouth. Eh? Food intake through the mouth. That's ingest, to ingest. So there are some things that will happen in the mouth because digestion start from the mouth. So that is some enzyme will act on the food before going through the esophagus. So now the ingestion is the first process. The second process is what? Digestion. And we have mechanical digestion. That one happen in the mouth by what? By our teeth. When you put a cut of yam, a piece of yam in your what? In your mouth, you ingest it. You cannot just swallow it like that. You have to what? Chew it. You have to break it down with your teeth. Eh? It will now what? It will now mix with saliva. The salivary amylase, so is the one that will digest starch in our mouth. We are still coming there. So the enzyme salivary amylase is also called ptyalin, Ptyalin. So majorly it is called ptyalin, but it's called salivary amylase. It will act on the starchy food in our mouth, so being broken down by teeth. So and corning, so the food should be what? Should be corned before pass through the what? It will round, it will be in a spherical shape, in a shape of bolus, and it will pass through the esophagus in a peristalsis movement. So the movement is called peristalsis. The shape of the food when it has been uh, mixed with saliva before it comes to the what? It passes through the esophagus. The shape is called bolus. So that's the mechanical digestion that happen in the mouth. And we have chemical breakdown. So that's what? Enzymes we act on it, and what? And it will produce acid also. So in our stomach we have hydrochloric acid, so which we kill some bacteria, some microbes. So in the mouth now, we have saliva that contain amylase. That's salivary amylase. It will break down starch into what? Into maltose. So, and the salivary amylase is also called what? Taurine. Taurine. So in the stomach, when it's now passed through the esophagus to the stomach now, then there is another enzyme in the stomach. The first enzyme in this that will digest protein in the stomach is what? Is called pepsin. Pepsin. Okay, it's called pepsin. And it will break down protein into what? Into peptide. In the stomach, we also have hydrochloric acid that will kill the microbes in the stomach. Because when we are, for example, now you just take in, you put your food on the table, you now went and switch on the TV. Before you come back, you not cover your food. So microorganism might have acted upon it, and you just take in the food like that. If there is no help of what? HCl in the stomach that will now kill that bacteria that has acted on that food you left before you start eating it. So we would develop many disease. So that's the work of HCl in the stomach. They kill what? They kill microbes. And small intestine. So when the food has been digested and acted upon by enzyme in the stomach, so we have some other accessory organs. So like pancreas. We have enzymes in the pancreas, like amylase, like protease. So protease, amylase is the second, pancreatic amylase is the what? The second enzyme that will digest starch. In the mouth, we have salivary amylase. That's what? That's the first amylase that will break down starch in the mouth. When it gets to the what? Pancreas again. So pancreatic amylase will act on it again. So the first enzyme that will digest protein is in the stomach. That's pepsin. And the second one is found in the what? Pancreas. That's what? Protease. So that will digest protein. And what? Lipase is also found in the what? Found in the pancreas. It also digests lipase, digests lipid. So the what? The digestion will complete in the what? In the small intestine, like that. Now, when it has been complete in the small intestine, the next thing that this food has been digested, the next thing is to what? Is to be absorbed. So this digested food will be absorbed via the villi. Plural is villi, singular is villus. So these villi are small, small structure that line the what? Epithelium of the small intestine. So they will now be absorbed by this villi through what? Through the blood vessels. They will now be passed through the blood vessels into the blood. So the nutrients will now be in the blood. Now, the blood is being pumped around the body. So it is the blood that will now be carrying the nutrients up and down in the body. So that's one of the functions of blood. One of the function of blood is that it transports nutrients around the body to where they are needed. So when we reach circulatory system, we'll be talking about blood. So the next process after absorption is what? Assimilation. So this nutrient that is being transported is what? So where it will be transported to where they will be used. So now assimilation is what? Use of this nutrient by the body. So glucose nutrient now, it will be used for energy. Then amino acid will be used for what? Proteins. Then after it has been used, we'll now see some undigested food that will be passed toward what? The large intestine. So let me just tell you this, we still come across it. The small intestine consists of three things, three parts. We have what? We have the ileum, we have the jejunum, and we have the what? Duodenum. So normally it consists of the ileum and duodenum, but the middle layer is what? Is the jejunum. Some textbook used to include that. And in the large intestine, we have what? The first part is called the colon, the second part is called the cecum, and the third part is called the rectum. So after rectum is the anus. Is the anus that the food will be ingested. Ingestion that started with E is the removal of undigested material via anus. I hope you are following me. If you are following me, kindly thumb up.
What?
So I hope you are noting those enzymes down and their function and where they are found. Okay. Don't worry, you I'm still going to, after I use this material finish, I'm still going to use another material for you to understand. And you are going to do some questions on it. So let's come to malnutrition. Malnutrition occur when, like, humans or animals do not take in the right food in the right proportion. Like, you don't take in balanced diet. So imbalance of nutrients, like you are eating rice in the morning, garri in the afternoon, and eba at night, without any meat, without vegetable like that. So it will what? It will cause deficiency in what? Nutrient. So malnutrition occurs when there is deficiency or excess or imbalance of nutrients. So protein deficiency is what? Is called kwashiorkor. So protein deficiency is called kwashiorkor. So, and also energy deficiency is called, is referred to as marasmus. So why the vitamin deficiencies, like vitamin A. So I have told you then that I will tell you the efficiency of the vitamins one by one. So vitamin A, vitamin A is responsible for vision, like good vision. So if you are now having deficiency in vitamin A, so you are going to have night blindness. Vitamin D can cause soft bone, which is referred to as what? Rickets. Vitamin C, that's scurvy. Vitamin B1 is beriberi. So mineral deficiency. So if you are lacking iron, so you are going to suffer from what? Anemia. So it can be also be spelled like this: anemia. So British and what? And American spelling. So iodine, lack of iodine will cause goiter. Lack of iodine will cause goiter. So marasmus is, you might not know the meaning, is a severe form of protein energy malnutrition. So it is caused by extreme and prolonged deficiency of all the calories, like fat, protein, and carbohydrates. So it will result in what? Soft skin and bones. So skin and bones not appearing in a good manner. Now, these are the summary of what we've learned. Nutrition is essential for energy, growth, repair, and maintenance of life. Organism exhibits autotrophic nutrition, that's self-made food, or heterotrophic nutrition dependent on other organism. Plants mainly use photosynthesis, while other use animal use holozoic, and a balanced diet containing all nutrients in the right proportion, so for and is vital for good health. So the human digestive system is a complex series of organs and glands that process food. It allows the body to break down large insoluble food molecules. Like if you put yam in your mouth, it is large, it is insoluble. So when you now put it in your mouth, you are now chewing it, because before you go to your stomach, it will be break down into what? Into smaller soluble. It will now be dissolved, that can be absorbed by your small intestine and used for energy, growth, and repair. So we have talked about this: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and ingestion. So just note how it comes orderly, it follows orderly. Note it. Note it very well. So now let's look at alimentary canal. So part of the human system. So alimentary canal is called the gut. So part of human system, alimentary canal of human. So the first one is what is the mouth. Anything mouth is called buccal cavity. So we have the teeth, the saliva, and the tongue. What is the function of the teeth? It chew the food. That's mechanical digestion. It occurs in the mouth. Saliva contains what? Salivary amylase, which brings down what? Starch to maltose. Who can tell me another name for salivary amylase? Another name for salivary amylase?
Silent.
Darling.
Ptyalin. Ptyalin. So what's the function of the tongue? It mixes the food to forms what? Bolus. Bolus is the shape that the food will pass through. Then we have what? Pharynx and esophagus. So pharynx is what? Is the windpipe. So the there's what we call epiglottis. So in the pharynx is the one that will cover up the pharynx. So and the esophagus will be open. The food will now, this is why the food cannot pass through your windpipe. So whenever you are swallowing, so that epiglottis, so people will call it gogongo. So it will cover the what? The windpipe, so that the food will not pass through where it does not supposed to pass through. So it will pass through the esophagus, that the pharynx will be closed, the windpipe will be closed, and the food will pass through the esophagus to the stomach in the shape of what? Peristalsis. That's a wave-like muscular contraction. So it pushes the food to the what? To the stomach. So when it gets to the stomach now, stomach is a muscular sac that stores the food temporarily. It is called crop in birds. In birds, it is called crop. CROP. So in the stomach, we have gastric juice. We have different kind of juice. We are still going to look at that one later. Gastric juice, it contains pepsin, hydrochloric acid, and mucus. So this gastric juice cannot harm the worm, the round worm in our stomach. Who can tell me the reason? The round drum in our stomach, they are being protected from what? From this gastric juice or digestive juice. Why are they being protected from it?
Sir, please, can you repeat your question?
Okay, I say the gastric juice or digestive juice of human being cannot harm round drum. Why? You know, we say we have hydrochloric acid, which is acidic, abi, and we say that we have round drum in our stomach. Why can't this hydrochloric acid that can deal with bacteria deal with the round drum also? Why? What's the reason? Why does round drum, why round drum can survive in our stomach? Why can round drum survive in our stomach? Why? Despite having acidic medium in our stomach.
Because the roundworm has a thick, tough, and cortical it is
Yes,
protecting their
yes, because
outer
the
covering.
the round drum has a tough cortical on on their body, so which prevents them from what? From the digestive juice of what? Of the host. We've learnt that. I think I said that when we are learning evolution among organisms. When I'm talking about nematodes, I'm talking about round drum there. You see, we said it when we are doing, when we did the question revision question, I think before this class, last, we said it. So that shows if you are following or you are not following. So the first enzyme, which is pepsin, it digests protein to what? It break down protein to peptide. And the work of hydrochloric acid that it kill bacteria, provide acidic medium, mucus protect stomach wall, and food becomes chyme or chyme, any pronunciation you can use. So now the small intestine, this is the alimentary canal starting from the mouth, the stomach, the esophagus, the stomach. Then after the stomach, the small intestine. Can you see that the small intestine is being divided into what? Duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. Jejunum is the second part, while ileum is the third part of the small intestine. Duodenum receive bile from the liver. So, and the bile is made in the gallbladder. So, and the gallbladder is being produced by the what? By the liver. So, you are still going to see the structure, digestive structure, alimentary canal of human. I will ask you a question. Note that. I'm going to ask you a question. You better look at it very well. So, and I said duodenum receive bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from what? From the pancreas. So when food gets to what? To the small intestine, the first part is it will stay is what? Is the duodenum. And bile will act on what? On fat. It will break down fat and it will neutralizes the stomach acid. You know, acidic, the stomach contain what? Acid. But when the food is now coming to what? The small intestine, the liver will what? We produce what? Bile to the duodenum part of the small intestine, so that it can neutralize the acidic medium that is coming from the stomach, and the fat will be emulsified, will be break down. Then you can see that pancreatic juice is being passed from the pancreas also to the duodenum part of the small intestine. What is the work of pancreatic enzymes? So the first one is pancreatic amylase. It digests starch to what? Maltose. Who can tell me the work of pancreatic, the work of salivary amylase? The work of salivary amylase. Who can tell me the work of salivary amylase? You are not following. Look at.
It converts starch to maltose.
So convert starch to maltose also. So now another enzyme produced from the pancreas that will pass to the what? To the first part of the small intestine, which is duodenum, is lipase. And what's the function of lipase? Is the enzyme that break down fats and oil or lipid into fatty acid and glycerol. And we also have trypsin. That will be that is formed from the pancreas and being passed to the duodenum. What's the work of trypsin? It will break down protein to what? To peptide. So the second and the last, majorly nothing happened in the jejunum. So, but it's just like the middle layer. That's why they used to refer to as small intestine as duodenum and ileum. So hardly you see jejunum, but I just put this so that when you see jejunum, you know that it is part of the small intestine. So in the ileum, that's where absorption will take place. Absorption of those nutrients will now take place. So absorption of water, absorption of the nutrients, will now take place there. So the ileum now has inner lining of what? Of villi and microvilli. So I've told you it increased surface area for absorption. So that's the function of what? Villi and macrovilli. Note that JAMB used to ask. It increased surface area for absorption. Now, after leaving the small intestine, the nutrients have been absorbed, while the undigested nutrients will now be passed along to what? The large intestine. So I just write only colon here. Colon is the first. We have cecum and what? And rectum. So it's also divided into TD, the large intestine. So in the colon, in the large intestine, so that's where in the colon, that undigested food, water is being absorbed from that undigested food. If you are being asked that where is the part of the alimentary canal that most water are being absorbed, water are mostly being absorbed, is in the what? In the large intestine or the colon. So you can see colon or large intestine. So the colon. So that's where most water is being absorbed. Then it also houses bacteria that make vitamin K and vitamin B complex. So the rectum and the anus, they store feces. So rectum store feces temporarily. So you know that, okay, you feel that you will soon pass out feces. So the feces is still in your rectum. But when it wants to come out now, it will now be digested through your anus. We have accessory organs in this digest alimentary canal. We have the liver. The liver produce bile, which is stored in the what? Gall bladder. Liver produce bile, and the bile is being stored in what? In the gall bladder. So
Sir,
processes. Hmm?
I heard that the feces is not an excretory product. Is it true that the feces is not an excretory product?
The what they are trying to say is that feces feces is an excretory product, but it is not only feces that is excretory product. Everything that is given off from the metabolism of the body is called excretory product. For example, now, if you are sweating and sweat is coming out of your body, that's an excretory product. Your urine is an excretory product. Even the carbon dioxide that you are breathing out is an excretory product. That's why we can't say that excretion is what? Is a removal of feces from the body. No, excretion is not the removal of feces in the body. Excretion is the removal of metabolic waste products. So if you are not talking about metabolic waste products, respiration occur in the body, abi, we breathe out carbon dioxide, we breathe in oxygen. That's metabolism. What osmoregulation, maintenance of salt and water balance in the body. The salt and water balance, the sweat will come out through the body. That's excretion. So the undigested food, which will be passed out through the anus, is also what? Is also metabolic waste. So we can say that what is one of the excretory products. Do you get like that?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But excretion is not limited to what? Removal of waste products from the anus. Feces is not limited to that. Do you get now?
Okay, sir. It's because when I saw it inside the book, they said it's not an excretory product but an egestion product.
It's just the meaning of egestion is that anything that pass out through the anus, that's feces. Okay, so we can just say that the name feces is just that uh, undigested food that pass through, that comes out through the anus. So, and we can say that is one of what? The excretory product. So it's just explanation, nothing much. Nothing much. Yeah. Even jam cannot twist question like that for you. So it's just explanation. If someone say that it's not an excretory product, that shows that the person is telling you that this feces, so it's passing out through the anus. It's just like it's not passing out through the maybe. So there's no even how they want to explain it. So every with your understanding, even with your understanding of what you are doing now, this is the food that is it follows the ingestion. After the ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, before what? Before ingestion. So that product, what we now what can we call it? So we still refer it as what? Excretory product. So that's just it. It's just differences in what? In explanation. Do you get like that?
Yes, sir. Jazakallah khair.
Mhm. So rectum and anus, okay, we've talked about that. Now, one of the functions of liver is that it processes absorbed nutrients, glucose. Excess glucose will be stored as what? Glycogen in animal. What of plant? Excess glucose is stored as what? In plant.
Starch.
Starch. That's very good. And liver also function as what? As deamination of amino acid and detoxification of toxins. Toxins are toxic harmful substances which should be removed from the body. So even liver is one of what liver or not is one of the excretory organ. So it's deamination of what amino acid. So pancreas produces digestive enzymes and hormones. So you know pancreas produces hormones, two hormones, insulin and glucagon. The one that raise the level of glucose and the one that lowers the level of glucose. So gallbladder stores and release bile. Gallbladder stores and release bile. So don't forget liver produces bile and is what is being stored in the gallbladder. So look at we have digestive juices and enzymes. Let's say is present in the what in the mouth. The site of action of saliva is what? Where can we find saliva? In the mouth. And the enzyme is what? Amylase. That's salivary amylase. What does it break down? Starch to what? Maltose. Gastric juice is found in the what? In the stomach. And what enzyme is present there is pepsin. And pepsin breaks down what? Protein to what? Peptides. We have pancreatic juice, which is found in what? Duodenum, first part of the small intestine. We have three enzymes there. We have pancreatic amylase, lipase, and trypsin.
And
So
typo.
amylase breaks down starch to maltose, lipase breaks down fatty acid, fats to what? Fatty acid and glycerol, while trypsin breaks down what? Protein to peptide. Also, intestinal juice, that's small intestine. So this is ileum like that. As maltose is being broken down by maltase. Sucrose is being broken down by enzyme sucrase. So lactose, the milk sugar, is being broken down by what? Enzyme lactase. Peptide is being broken down by what? Enzyme peptidase. So peptide will now be broken down what? Into amino acid. That's the end product. So that protein from peptide to what? To peptidase to what? To amino acids. So this is the absorption. We've talked about this. So the glucose and the amino acid, which is the end product, they will be absorbed into the blood by what? By the blood capillaries, that blood vessel. So while fatty acid and glycerol, they will be absorbed into what? Lacteas. Is lymphatic vessels, lacteas. The fatty acid and glycerol. So assimilation, this is what happens in the assimilation. So glucose will be oxidized for energy or stored as glycogen in the liver and muscles. So amino acid used for protein synthesis, and fatty acid and glycerol stored as fat or used for cell membrane. So in the undigested and indigestible material, so they are called what? Fibers. So they are expelled as feces through what? Through the anus. Now let's look at the disorders of the digestive system. Ulcer. So the meaning of ulcer is sore in the stomach lining, having sore in the stomach lining due to excess acid from that hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So diarrhea is a frequent watery stool due to infection or poor absorption. For example, now if you take in contaminated water or food, so you can have what? Diarrhea. Constipation, so difficulty in what? In passing stool. So indigestion, incomplete digestion, often due to what? Overeating. Gallstones, so they are hardened deposit blocking the bile duct. So now let's go and take a look at the structure of this alimentary canal we've talked about. I hope you get these explanations. That's very good. Okay. Let me show you some things. So this, I'll just show you some things here before, because we have learnt mostly everything. So human nutrition, the human digestive system. Can I, let me stop this thing. So you can see that they say here, they say small intestine, including the duodenum and ileum. They do not write jejunum here, because jejunum is not the middle layer. So, and even large intestine, they say that including the colon, rectum, and anus. They do not write cecum here. So you can see associated organ or accessory organ, salivary gland, pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. So they are referred to what? Accessory organs or associated organs. So look at this structure. Look at this structure. The mouth, the salivary gland. This is the esophagus. This is the liver. This is the stomach. This is the pancreas, gallbladder. This is the small intestine. This one is not too broad. I'll still show you the broad one. So look at ingestion, the process, and this is what? Digestion occur in the stomach. So absorption occur in the what? Small intestine, and assimilation before ingestion as what? As feces. You can see. So this is food putting into the mouth. Ingestion means what? Eating. So these are the what? These are those processes: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, ingestion. You can see their meaning in simple manner. Taking in food, breakdown of complex food substances to soluble food substances, absorption, digestion of food digested into bloodstream, assimilation, transport, and use of absorbed food by blood cell, removal of undigested food. And you can see it here. So you can go through this. So now you can find some clear diagram of the organs here. So here, this one is the esophagus. Esophagus leads to stomach. You can see the acid chyme, the shine. So that we'll talk about here. Then I'll come in. Let me give you. Let me. So in the stomach, food becomes chyme or chyme. So you can see it here. So the food here. So we now go to what? We now go to the small intestine. And this is the pancreatic juice that will pass through the what? That will pass through the small intestine. This is the duodenum of small intestine, intestinal juice. This is the gallbladder, and we have the bile that is stored in the gallbladder here. And this is the bile. This is the liver. The liver is being produced. The bile is being produced by the liver, and it will come into what? Into the gallbladder to be stored. So, and major function of the bile is what? Emulsification of fat, means break down fat into smaller droplets. So big fat will be break down into what? Smaller droplet like this. So the wall of the alimentary canal contain muscles which contract and relax to make food move along. So this muscular contraction are called peristalsis. I've told you that. Have you seen this organ very well now? Look at the pancreas. I'll still show you the one clearer than this. We don't need this. We don't need this. So the stomach, in the mouth, ingestion of food, mechanical digestion by teeth, chemical digestion by amylase, formation of bolus for swallowing. In the salivary gland, produce saliva to lubricate the food and contain amylase for chemical digestion of starch. So the esophagus transfer the food from the mouth to stomach by peristaltic movement, while in the stomach produce gastric juice that contain enzyme and acids. So pepsin enzyme that chemically digest protein, hydrochloric acid kills bacteria. So peristalsis turns food into what? Into a liquid. That's churning. Or so you can see what role does saliva play in digestion. So enzyme in saliva help to what? Break down food. Salivary amylase begin digestion by breaking down starches. Starching into what? Maltose. So you can see the teeth, canine. This is the shape of canine, incisors, premolar and molar. So look at the esophagus. There are two tubes leading down from the back of the mouth. The one in front is what? Is the trachea or windpipe. That's the pharynx we see then. So which take ears down the lungs. So that's what? That's the trachea or windpipe where the what? Ear is being taken down to what? To the lungs. Can you see now? Can you see the pharynx? So can you see the pharynx? So this is what? Is the trachea, is the windpipe. So behind the trachea is the esophagus, which take food to the what? To the stomach. So look at this. Look at this also. This is what happened in the stomach. So in the stomach, pepsinogen, in the presence of, okay, look at what we have here. So it's also stomach contain enzyme. It contains other cells which produce enzyme and others which make hydrochloric acid. The enzyme produced in the stomach digest proteins, so they are proteases. So pepsin in the stomach, protease produced in the pancreas towards to the duodenum. So the hydrochloric acid produce a low pH of about 2 pH. You can see that it is acidic like that in the stomach, which kills harmful microorganisms in the food. So the pH is also the optimum pH for protease enzyme to act in the stomach. So the stomach can store food for quite a long time. It temporarily stores food. After 1 or 2 hours, the sphincter at the bottom of the stomach opens and lets the partly digested food move into the duodenum, the first part of the what? The small intestine. We have chemical digestion and we have mechanical digestion. So mechanical digestion occurs through muscular contraction of the esophagus through the stomach, and chemical digestion of protein happen what? In the stomach also. That's hydrochloric acid and the enzyme pepsin. So they are form of gastric juice. So look at what we have here. Muscular contraction of the stomach was mechanically digest food. Then the second one is that what? We have gastric juice. Gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, which is HCl, that activates pepsinogen. So hydrochloric acid activates pepsinogen, converting it to pepsin that digests protein. So if you see pepsinogen, hydrochloric converts pepsinogen to what? Pepsin to convert what? Protein to peptide. Let's cut it very well. So it is that pepsin that will not digest what? Protein. So you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the small intestine here. This is the duodenum first part. This is the jejunum second part. And this is the ileum, the last part. and the one surrounding it is the large intestine, which is referred to as colon. Can you see here again? Small intestine, duodenum and ileum. So majorly duodenum and ileum. So this is the large intestine. So colon and rectum. Colon, the first part of large intestine. Absorption of water from undigested food. Absorption of bile salts to pass back to the liver. So absorption of bile salt is being passed back to the liver. The rectum is the second part of the large intestine. So ingestion of this thing by the anus. So you can see this again. Now, I hope you gain something here. In the last PDF, in the last slide, we just take a look at. I hope you gain something there. Should we look at another slide? Or we should just go to the question? I see about that slide though. Okay, let's look at
other slides.
let's look at other side. Physical digestion. But this slide is 19. Let me. So you can see physical digestion. Food is broken down by two actions: physical digestion and chemical digestion. So physical or mechanical. So physical digestion and mechanical digestion is the same thing. So it's process of what? Changing the food form. That is, you break it in your mouth with teeth. So whenever it is being passed through your esophagus to what? To the stomach, the chemical digestion will now start. So you can see that just like this is a long carbohydrate molecule, is a large. You want to break it down into pieces. You now use digestive enzyme, which is scissors. You break it down like this. So like salivary amylase, we first break down the starch into what? Into maltose. You can see that this big food has been broken down into this. Yeah, let's go. You can see the teeth ready to break the food down. So this large fat emulsification means the breaking down of what? Fat. So in the presence of what? Bile, the large fat droplets. So you break down to what? Small fat droplets here. Physical digestion, so far refers to as mechanical digestion, is breakdown of what? Food into smaller pieces without chemical change. Look at this. So I'll just let you to take a look at. You can jot something down. So this is the epiglottis I'm referring to. So this is the pharynx. So this epiglottis, it will close down this place so that food will not pass there. So we have pharynx and larynx. So this is the tongue. This is the trachea, windpipe, and this is the esophagus. Okay, let me show you this very well. Okay, look at this. Look at this place. This is the mouth. This is the tongue. So look at I'm coming. Give me 1 minute. Give me a minute. Now, I'm sorry for distraction. We still have much time. Oh, this time is slow. Okay. Should we fast forward the time? Should we fast forward it? You are thumbing up. You are thumbing. Okay.
Yes, sir. We are fasting. I'm tired.
Yeah. Okay. You are tired. How will class now be inside Ramadan like this?
Ah,
We are like
hey,
help us.
now only God do.
We are like help us. Yeah. You know, I've been talking. I've been talking. I'm just tired. So you just be. I'll just give you as a TV. You'll be looking at it too. So look at this place. Can you see my arrow? You can see that this is space. Eh? This is space. This is your. This is like your gogongo. Eh? So it's called epiglottis. So now, when the food is coming, eh, the epiglottis will close up this place so that the food will not what? Will not enter. Will not enter this place. Because if it enters this place, this is what? Is the windpipe. This is the windpipe, trachea. But this is the esophagus that is at the back. So you can see that the esophagus is at the back. But the what? The trachea is at the front here. So the reason why the food is not entering the trachea where the air will pass through is that this epiglottis will close down that space, and it's only this esophagus that will be open. So that's why when you are talking and you are eating, the food might mistakenly, one of the seed of the food might mistakenly find its way to the what? To the trachea, and that's where your hormone will now trigger you that what? You should cough. So when you now cough, that maybe one seed of rice will now come out. It might pass through your nose, so it will shall come out. So you continue coughing, coughing, coughing till that thing that enter your trachea comes out. So that's when you say that kan sapa lórí. So you know that one now. So this is not where we are. This is where we are. Let's continue. So different things that we have the molar, premolar, canine incisors. So is the canine that has the most sharpest edge. So if you see all those lion, that teeth that used to what? That used to be in side by side that will come down is the canine that is used for tearing. Can you see? Canine are pointed for tearing, holding, and biting. While incisors are the one at the front. If you laugh now, this one that we will see at the front. So it's a chisel shape for biting and cutting. While the premolar and molars are large, they are flat. They are rigid for showing and what? And grinding. So you can see them. This is the incisors. This is the canine. This one and this one at the side. This is the premolar. Pre means before molar. So here is called palate. So and we have last teeth here, which is called wisdom teeth. It's one of the rudimentary or vestigial organ, which I have told you earlier that does not have function in a human. We have wisdom teeth, we have appendix, we have coccus, that's tailbone. Note that. So this is the incisors. So this is the canine, this is the molar. Okay, we are done with this. Okay, we are not done. No. So let's look at the tooth structure, the teeth structure. So we have don't let me show you this. Let me first show you this. So it is this one that JAMB used to bring. It is this type of structure JAMB used to bring. Note it very well. Note it very well now. This part is the enamel. The second part here is the denti. The innermost one is what? Pulp cavity. It's containing nerves and blood vessel. So the side by side, the one that hold your teeth is the gum. So and we have what? Cement after that gum. We have fibers attaching the tooth to the jawbone. We have the jawbone and we have blood supply from what? From the tooth. So take note of the enamel, the denti, and the what? And the pulp cavity. can see if you are given this structure, so it's the pulp cavity that is the innermost one, and we have nerves like tree, like diagram of tree inside the pulp cavity. You have the enamel as the first part, and we have the dentine as the second layer. You can see the gum. You have the cement. You have the jawbone here. So now, question: the part label F. Who can tell me the part label F? What is it? I'm coming so that I will see you. Let me do it like this. What's the part label F?
Enamel.
Enamel, that's good. The part label G. Dentine.
Dentine.
The part label H. Pulp cavity. So
Pulp
we have
cavity.
Cavity.
nerve, we have nerves inside it. So this place is the cement, we have the gum. So you know it like that. So what causes, let me close this again. What causes dental decay? So when you feed on sugary food, so bacteria are present in the stomach. The bacteria will make acid. So when bacteria make acid, so the acid will be too much for our tooth. So it will now line the tooth surface. Over time, this process can cause hole in the tooth. That's why it is good, it is advisable to brush after eating. It is good to brush after eating, so that to wash away the bacteria and the leftover food. So it can cause tooth decay. The acidic medium can cause tooth decay. So this is inside the stomach. So the stomach lining contains muscles which contract physically skills. That's where in when we are still small, they will say that we have a machine in our stomach that used to grind food. So no, stomach has lining. So the stomach lining contains muscle that will contract. It will be contracting physically to squeeze and mix the food with strong digestive juice so that are present. So it's known as what stomach corning. So there's no any machine in our stomach. So it's just what the lining of the stomach that contain muscle that will contract, that will now squeeze the food. And food is digested within the stomach for several hours. It can last to 2 to 3 hours in your stomach for so look at emulsification of fat and oil. So the cell in the liver produce bile, which is then stored. It goes to the small gallbladder and stored in gallbladder. So note these two main roles of bile. The first, the major role of bile is that what it functions in the emulsification of fat. It emulsify fat, that is break down fat into smaller particles. And the second one is that what this bile is alkaline. It contains alkaline medium that help to neutralize the hydrochloric acid which come from the stomach before it enter the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. I hope you understand that. So from what you have been learning since. So the enzymes in the small intestine have a higher, more alkaline optimum pH than those in the stomach. So the enzyme in the small intestine, that is that will function in the duodenum, we have the we have the pepsin, we have the amylase, pancreatic amylase, and we have the trypsin. So they prefer optimum pH, not high pH. You know, if acidity level is there will be pH of 2, but inside the we can still have the pH level of 2, hydrochloric acid, acidic medium inside inside the stomach. But when it wants to go to the duodenum of the small intestine, it has to be alkaline. That's when the bile will now be will now be released, because the bile contain alkaline medium. We will now be released into the duodenum of small intestine. it will now make the condition suitable for those enzymes to what to function. Because if enzyme there's too much acidity, it can what it can be denatured. The enzyme will not function. So it breaks down large drop of fat into smaller ones. So this is known as emulsification. Major function of bile is what emulsification of fat, and it's what in the alkaline medium of bile neutralizes the hydrochloric acid, that's HCl coming from what the stomach. So it chemically break down to lipid or fat and oil into glycerol and fatty acid faster. So this is the bile duct. So you can see bile production in the liver, this hepatic duct. So digestive enzyme in produced in the pancreatic duct. The duct that leave from the pancreas, the pancreatic duct, that leave from the liver is hepatic duct. So it now brings to what the bile duct, and this is the what duodenum of the small intestine. Bile is produced in the liver, enters into the gallbladder and stored into the gallbladder, and this bile duct will carry the bile into the duodenum of small intestine to what? To neutralize the hydrochloric acid coming from the stomach. Do you enjoy that also? Do you enjoy that also? And they see the main one PDF again. They see the main one this thing slide. That's chemical digestion. Chemical digestion. So this is part of starch molecule. Enzyme will act on it. It will break it down to what? It will separate it into what? Glucose molecules. And you see, chemical digestion is the breakdown of large insoluble molecules into small molecules. So chemical digestion require this thing like that, like that, like that. So you know that one already. Take note of this. You can even screenshot it like this. Take note of this. So we have two types of amylase, salivary amylase and pancreatic amylase. So one amylase is secreted in the salivary gland, so it is called salivary amylase. One amylase, other amylase is secreted in the pancreas. It is called pancreatic amylase. So the one salivary amylase is it's out in the mouth. That pancreatic amylase out in the duodenum. Protease secreted by wall of the stomach, and it is also secreted by the pancreas. So we'll say that this one will be pepsin in the stomach, and this one will be what? Protease in the pancreas, and it will act in the duodenum. Lipase, it is secreted in the pancreas, and it is going to act in the duodenum. This part is very, very important. Like just the summary of what you have been discussing, sis. Look at now, amylase are produced in the mouth and in the pancreas, secreted into the duodenum. Amylase digest starch into smaller sugars. Now you see. So starch to maltose, and maltose is a disaccharide. Starch is a polysaccharide, maltose is a disaccharide. So maltose is digested by the enzyme maltase into glucose. So it will now be digested into what? Monosaccharide. Can you see? Starch is a polysaccharide. It will be digested to what? Maltose, which is disaccharide. Then this maltose will be acted upon by the enzyme maltase, which will also digest it into what? Glucose. Break it down into glucose. We now have monosaccharide, polysaccharide, disaccharide, and monosaccharide. Sugars of what? Of carbohydrates. So it is this glucose that will now be absorbed by the membrane of the epithelium lining of the small intestine and will now be passed through the capillaries, blood capillaries to the blood. Blood will now circulate the nutrient. Can you see proteins act on protein molecules to break it down to what? Amino acids molecules. So proteins are a group of enzymes that break down protein into amino acid in the stomach. So and small intestine with enzymes in the small intestine having been produced in the pancreas. So that means that proteins can also break down what? Protein inside the what? Inside the into amino acid inside the stomach after being acted upon by pepsin. So protein digestion takes place in the stomach and duodenum with two main enzymes. Don't forget, duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. We have pepsin, is produced in the stomach and breaks down protein in acidic medium. That's in the presence of hydrochloric acid. Pepsinogen to what? To pepsin. Trypsin is also what? Trypsin is produced in the pancreas and secreted into
Pancreas.
the duodenum.
Duodenum.
So where is breakdown protein in alkaline medium? You know, in the duodenum, it requires alkaline medium, but inside the stomach, acidic medium is required. Stomach, acidic medium, duodenum, alkaline medium. And what will bring down that alkaline medium inside the duodenum is because of the bile that will neutralize what? Acidic medium coming from the stomach. So lipid will also be acted upon by enzyme lipase break down what? Glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So that's digestion of what? Lipids. Lipid enzymes are produced in pancreas and secreted into the duodenum. So can you see? So this is just another summary. So this is just another summary. You can screenshot.
Thank you, sir.
So now, before we now call it a day, look at this diagram. Which structure produce lipase? Which structure produce lipase? So let me just option B is esophagus, A is the what? Is the gallbladder, C is the pancreas, D is the what? Is the colon or the cecum of the large intestine. So which one produce lipase? Lipase?
See.
Eh?
See,
C, which is the
see.
pancreas. So
Pancreas.
this is how pancreas used to be. It will be like the shape of a leaf. So it is found beneath the liver. So the diagram shows the activity of salivary amylase on starch molecule. Which of these following is not a function of salivary amylase? Don't let me ask you. You know that already. So trypsin in the stomach digests protein to amino acid, by gallbladder neutralizing, like this, all these constitutions, this also. So now we've come to the end of the class. Come to the end of the class. If you enjoy the class and you understand today's class, kindly thumb up. So nutrition, digestion, digestive system, alimentary canal. Any question? Bring it. Enzymes in the alimentary canal, their function, bile, liver, accessory organ. Okay. Barakallah, Allah make it easy.
Amen.
Jazakumullahu khairan.
Jazakumullah.
Jazakumullah. So before we go to our next topic, next class, I think next topic will be transport system. So transport system is also known as circulatory system. So that's what we're talking about, heart, and talking about blood vessels, those things. So, but before we'll be starting the next topic, next class, I will give you a short test. So I will project it on my screen. So you will answer it. So you go and do your revision on this, the topic we learned today. Very well.
Thank
Now,
you,
see you
sir.
next class. Our next class is when? Saturday, Abi.
Eh?
Inshallah. Our next class is
Yes,
Saturday, right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Inshallah.
Assalamu
Jazakumullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ah, Ya Rabbi. Ah.